The meeting will please come to order. Hello, everyone. My name is Trippi Congo, President of Wilmington City Council. And on behalf of my colleagues, we want to thank you for joining us this evening. Today is Thursday, January the 18th. Again, thank you to those who are with us in council chambers, as well as those who are on virtually. Just as a public note, the resolution approving the grant of a temporary construction easement in tax parcel number 26005 40-002 to Brandywine Shad 2020 Inc. pertaining to the removal of dam number 6 is not on this evening's agenda. It will be scheduled for our February 1st meeting. You're more than welcome to come and speak, give public comment regarding dam number 6, either at that meeting or this meeting. Also, for any public comment, there's a Google form sign-up link in the chat for anyone who would like to give any public comment. Public comment will take place after non-legislative business. At this time, we'll have our opening prayer by Akira Granardo.
Heavenly Father, we have assembled to handle the affairs of our city. As we do so, we ask for your guidance and understanding. We pray that our city reaches a place of peace and safety. Keep us out of harm's way and bless those who are in authority. Let respect be key in all our endeavors. Amen.
Amen. At this time, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman White,
Present.
Councilwoman Darby,
Present.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Present.
Councilwoman Harley,
Present.
Councilwoman Fields,
Present.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Here.
Councilman Johnson,
Here.
Councilman Field, Councilwoman Cabrera,
Here.
Councilman Mills,
Present.
Councilman Spadola,
Present.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Present.
President Congo.
Here.
13 present.
Thank you. This time, we're going to have a moment of silence for former Wilmington City Council President Theodore Ted Blunt. Okay, thank you. This time, we're going to have the reading of the minutes of our previous meeting.
January 4th, 2024, City Council met on regular session with remote participation on the above date at 6:33 p.m. President Ernest M. Congo II presiding. The opening prayer was done by Kara Granardo, Deputy City Clerk.
Mr. President, I move the minutes be accepted as written.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the minutes be accepted as written. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. This time we'll have our committee reports.
January 11, 2024, President and members of Council, City of Wilmington, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Community Development and Urban Planning Committee, met by anchor location remote participation. To whom was referred ordinance number 23046 entitled, an ordinance to authorize and approve an extension of contract 24012 LI vacant property
President,
services
I move
between
the-
the City of Wilmington and RNA Contractors LLC. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilwoman Cabrera, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Fields, Councilman White, President Congo absent with leave, Councilwoman Darby, Councilwoman McCoy, and Councilman Spadola.
Mr. President, I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
January 8th, 2024, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation towards refer ordinance number 24001 entitled, an ordinance constituting amendment number 2 to the fiscal year 2024 operating budget, being an ordinance to amend ordinance number 23030. I've given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilwoman Harley, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilman Spadola, and President Congo.
At this time, I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that that report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. At this time, we'll have our city treasurer's report.
January 18, 2024, total investment, $499,692,216.45. Total cash on hand, $15,060,764.97. Grand total, $514,752,981.42. Submitted by Dwayne Sims, City Treasurer.
Mr. President, I move the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second the report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I'll accept the motion to move to accept all non-legislative business.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second to accept all non-legislative business. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. At this time, we're going to have our recognition resolutions. Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of Council Members Anthony Oliver, we have a resolution. Whereas it is the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have reached significant milestones and are deserving of recognition and acknowledgement, Council Members Anthony Oliver recognizes Vikram Chrisman Murphy, Executive Director of the Delaware Center for Horticulture, as one such individual. Whereas for 8 years, Mr. Murphy, or Vic as he affectionately known, has been the executive director and its full-time tree program manager. This year, Vic will return to his passion and what anchors him to horticulture. He has accepted a lead role at the Tree Equity Alliance. Thank you. He has accepted a lead role at the Tree Equity Alliance, a cross-sector initiative launched by American Forests to unite diverse national partners in supporting the national tree equity movement. And during his tenure, has created a solid foundation and a path forward for DCH. His leadership and guidance has reinvented DCH branches to Chances, Workforce and Reentry Program. Thank you. He had helped launch the Delaware River Climate Core Program, created educational and horticultural programs, including urban forestry, land conservation, and local food company. Mr. Murphy has been an outstanding steward of DCH. He has worked hard to help DCH achieve financial stability, recruit an experienced and professional staff, and to cultivate a motivated and hard-working board of directors. Whereas we commend Mr. Murphy for his enthusiasm, determination, and resolve, the DCH, the City of Wilmington, and the State of Delaware have greatly benefited from his leadership and commitment to equity and environmental justice. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Wilmington that this legislative body honors and celebrates Mr. Murphy for his unwavering commitment and dedication to the Delaware Center for Horticulture. We wish him continued success in all his future endeavors. Job well done.
Thank you for those humbling words. I'd like to thank Councilmember Oliver, Council President Congo, and all council members for this honor and recognition. It's been a privilege to serve the Delaware Center for Horticulture and our city, and I wish DCH all the best in its future. And I appreciate working with all of you in your districts and across the city to help Wilmington reach its full potential as a thriving city. Along the way, I've met so many people who care about this city, its past, present, and future, and you here this evening are included. Many of you know that I have always focused on working in neighborhoods and with communities that have the greatest needs. I'm proud to have facilitated the planting of about 3,000 trees in Wilmington in the areas where they're most needed. Working with great people, and the City of Wilmington has played a crucial role in supporting that work. So I want to thank the current council, administration, as well as past administrations for recognizing the importance of trees to our quality of life. Research and data prove the direct correlations between communities of color having fewer trees, on average of 33% less than predominantly white neighborhoods. And wealthier neighborhoods have 65% more tree coverage than lower income areas, which are on average 10 degrees hotter in the summer. From a public health perspective, heat-related deaths in the United States are expected to increase from about 12,000 a year to over 100,000 a year in the coming decade. With effective planning, policies, and partners in place, city trees and the shade they provide will be a key way to address this crisis. As mentioned, I'm excited to have started in a new opportunity with our country's oldest conservation organization, American Forests. In my new role, I'm leading this new national alliance of partners committed to this challenge of achieving tree equity in our country. These inequities were created through systemic policies like redlining and are still perpetuated in many cities across the United States, but are now recognized, acknowledged, and are being addressed through historic funding for urban forestry nationwide and through alliances like the Tree Equity Movement, which is empowering, restoring, and including the voices of people who are most impacted by climate change. This is why local organizations like DCH are so important. I encourage all of you to continue the city's vital support of DCH's programs, including the E.D. Robinson Urban Farm and the Sherman Street Garden in Councilwoman Oliver's district, and the Community Development Block Grant annual program for planting new city street trees, for making Wilmington a greener place and ensuring that all residents can access the many benefits that trees and green spaces provide. Thank you.
So I just want to thank Mr. Vick for supporting me. I've been working with him ever since 2016. Sorry I wasn't able to read the resolution, but I was at an event tonight for Ted Blunt, so I'm still a little full. So apologize for not being able to really talk about you like I would. And anybody want to say anything, feel free.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes, if I could just add, I read this amazing article, which repeated exactly what you said, that trees, not only do they provide shade, but that crime is actually lower in neighborhoods that have trees. So I know that some of the trees that were planted throughout the years, we've learned from our mistakes, were not trees that should have been planted in urban areas in terms of the roots. I know we have a lot of problems with sidewalks, and then some neighbors just, complain about the leaves, but they really need to understand the benefits of having trees. And not only that, the cost of their air, their air conditioning, their homes, it's so much cheaper when you have that shade in the trees. So I would encourage city residents, please reach out, talk to someone, consult before you think of cutting down a tree, and plant a tree. And now there are trees that are more acceptable for urban environments where the trees grow down instead of sideways. So thank you for the work you have done. Always been a supporter of DCH, and as a gardener myself, obviously this is near and dear to my heart. But definitely more trees. Thank you so much.
Councilwoman. I wholeheartedly agree. And what I'd like to say is, thinking back to my earliest days at DCH and here in Wilmington, over 20 years ago, the city itself, Public Works Department, Parks, has come so far along in terms of recognizing those issues that can arise. The science has advanced. we know a lot more about the long-term impacts, and so I definitely appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Councilmember, excuse me, Councilmember Nathan Field.
Just, I want to thank you for all the work you did with DCH. Everybody is sorry to see you go, but you did do a great job, and you've stabilized the organization, and you're I think you'll still consider Wilmington, part of your home, and I'm sure we will still see you from time to time. That's a really good thing.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilman. I'm working remotely, which I'm really enjoying so far, so you'll still see me around.
All right.
And I want to, in turn, thank you, Councilman, and all of council. I know that beautification is a really important priority for City Council in each of your districts, and you've got there are a lot of really active, passionate people about greening Wilmington in each of your districts. So I know they appreciate your support as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to recognize, on behalf of Council Member Spadola, the Omega Project Physical Therapy, who celebrated their 5th anniversary. And I believe that Councilmember Maria Cabrera is going to present an in-person recognition on behalf of Councilmember Spadola for Desmond Baker. Desmond, if you and your family can come forward, please. Anyone
Mr.
who's here to
President.
support you.
Councilman Spadola is on baby watch. He's threatened to serve an eviction order if that baby doesn't come soon. We were joking around about he was to have this baby before the storm. We're gonna call her Ice Baby. Thank you for being
Don't
here.
change me, Maria.
Sorry about so, oh, there he is. Okay, well, this resolution is on behalf of all of council, and I just want to say personally, Desmond, we've worked together in so many capacities, and we thank you for your service. Whereas it is the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and are deserving of recognition and acknowledgement. Mr. Desmond A. Baker is one such individual, and whereas Desmond is a native of Kingston, Jamaica, where he attended St. Andrews Technical High School, staffs. After high school, he went on to earn a Bachelor of Engineering and a Master of Professional Engineering degree in Mechanical Engineering from the City College of the City University of New York. And whereas Mr. Baker accepted a position with the Procter & Gamble Company in Cincinnati, Ohio after graduation, in 1980, he relocated to Delaware to join the DuPont Company, and by 1985, Mr. Baker became the proud owner of Desmond A. Baker and Associates, LLC, a full-service architectural and consulting engineering firm located in Wilmington, Delaware. Whereas throughout his career, Mr. Baker has demonstrated professional excellence, integrity, and dedication to his community. He has served in a variety of leadership roles, including Vice Chair of the Riverfront Development Corporation, Vice Chair of the State of Delaware Health Facilities Bond Committee, past President of the Minority Business Association of Delaware, as well as past President and longtime member of the Wilmington Caesar Rodney Rotary Club. He is also a proud member of the Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity, Inc., the Kappa Achievement Center, and the Delaware Commission on African and Caribbean Affairs, along with many other worthy endeavors. And whereas this council extends special commendation for Mr. Baker's many contributions to the Wilmington Planning Commission, on which he served for nearly 3 decades. As vice chair and most recently as acting chairman, Mr. Baker has supported the continuity of the commission, which plays a critical role in shaping the landscape of this great city. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the council of the city of Wilmington that this council is pleased to recognize Mr. Desmond A. Baker for his active engagement in the Wilmington community. His hard work and dedication have not gone unnoticed. Job well done. Baker, come say a few words. We also have a plaque on behalf of City Council that we are presenting to you in honor of his steadfast dedication, unwavering service, and countless contributions to improving the lives of the people of the city of Wilmington. January 18, 2024. On behalf
I wrote something, to say, but I'm just going to speak from the heart. I'm glad to have my youngest one here with me. She's just graduated from college and headed to med school. So that's one of the reasons why I'm going to have to focus on doing better business so I can pay the bill. Anyway, I just want to say thanks to the City Council Person Spadola and to the City Council, the President and the body. It's been a pleasure serving the City of Wilmington. I've been here since 1979. I joined the Planning Commission in 1986. And I can honestly say, without bragging, that I don't know that I may have missed maybe 2 meetings, because that's the kind of person I am. I've had the pleasure of working with most of the city council persons here, and I've had the pleasure of working with a very good planning department. I'm at a point in my life where I think that I need to start backing up in some of the responsibilities that I'm doing to more focus on business and transition, retirement. So to that end, I just want to say thank you. Thank my family. Thanks City Council Person Cabrera and Spadola and the full body for this recognition. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Councilmember Fields, Brigida Fields.
Yes, Mr. Desmond, I just want to say I really appreciate what you're doing, what you've done with me and my parks in the 5th District, and I'm really surprised that you did not tell me this the last meeting. So when he says he doesn't miss a meeting, he doesn't. I'm the one that I'm the one that calls in or misses them. But your dedication to making sure that I knew what I was talking about, what the renderings were saying, making sure that I could, tell one thing from another. You can only get that from the best and people that don't mind sharing their expertise. And I've learned, and I'm still going to continue to bother you because I still need to learn. But I just thank you for the service that you've done, not just for the city of Wilmington, but what you've done for me, and for my part. And I just want to thank you so much, and I appreciate you, and I wish you well. Do I have
Thank you,
your cell phone
Councilmember.
number?
Thank you, Councilmember Harley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to say congratulations to Mr. Baker and all the best in his next chapter. For the time that I have been on council, he has definitely been one of the most professional, integral, just business-like and helpful individuals on the different commissions that he serves on. And I just wanted to say congratulations. The length of time and service that you have given to the city of Wilmington is commendable. And I also wanted to say, as your DuPont family member, don't forget to make sure that you are in that Facebook page so we can, exchange messages back and forth if you're not in the DuPont Facebook page. And again, all the best and congratulations.
And Desmond, before you go, I just want to, like other council members have done, just thank you for your service. The resolution spoke to a lot of what you brought to our city and who you are. But I think what speaks most to your character is why you stepped away.
Mm-hmm.
And that has not gone unnoticed. And I just want to thank you for your dedication to the city of Wilmington. Thank you so much. Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too echo what you said. Mr. Desmond, I've always respected you. I've called you on several occasions to ask your opinion on various variances. And I'd just like to echo what the president said. You are a giant. Your man of integrity, the reason why you left based on our opinion, is unwavering for the city of Wilmington because you stand up for not just Black people, but for everybody. And kudos to you for taking a stand.
All right, thank you. In the way of sympathy resolutions from Councilmember Harley, we have a sympathy resolution for Leila Byard. From Councilmember Oliver, we have sympathy resolutions for Reggie Lacefield Lady Leona Hamilton, Derek Lightfoot, Freddie Mae Anderson, Selena Anderson, Gloria Jean Cross, Beverly Ann Barnes, and Ruby Lynn Smith. From Councilmember Spadola, we have a sympathy resolution for Bernard Francis Kenny Jr. And from Councilman White, we have a sympathy resolution for Robert McKinley Thomas. At this time, we will move to public comment. This is a friendly reminder that for public comment, anyone who is with us virtually, there is a Google Form sign-up link in the chat for those who like to speak. Your time limit is 3 minutes. Once you have 30 seconds left, I will give you a friendly reminder. So please try to wrap up your comments once I give you that 30-second friendly reminder. Also, please do not address your comments to any council members directly, but please direct all of your comments to me. At this time, we will start with those who are with us in council chambers. Deacon Earl E. Tate. And also, as you're coming forward, please be careful when you come to the podium. Please watch your step. And if you look to your lower right-hand corner, you will see your time clock. Also, please introduce yourself once you get to the microphone.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Greetings. My name is Deacon Earl E. Tate II, and I'd like to speak to you about these streets. When we was coming up, after we had the snowstorm, the streets, especially on the secondary streets, was clean all the way. But nowadays, these streets on the secondary streets look like a child been out there playing in the snow instead of the snow being shoveled up. Also, we got to have something done about these secondary streets to make it more safer that the people can drive down in the snow without slipping and sliding. Now also we got to get up off our seat of do nothing and got to get out here and get registered to vote, because your vote counts. If you don't get out here and vote, that means that the other guy, the cheater, the liar, is gonna get back in office and gonna mess up the whole system. So we got to get out here and got to vote. If you haven't registered, get out here and register. Don't be sitting back saying my vote don't count. Every vote counts, because when they come around and ask you, did you vote? And you say no, I don't want nothing to do with you then. Hey, you vote, make your vote count, because your voice do count and do count a lot. And I'm gonna leave you with this poem written by me. It's titled Freedom. And it goes like this. What right does this nation of the United States of America has to call itself land of the free when everyone here is not? When there are people still who are still walking around here in the chains of slavery. Some people who can't go here or there because of some reason or another. There are people who are still afraid of lifting up their heads or voices for fear of they might lose their lives for looking or talking the wrong way. They are sitting in fear because they are afraid they may lose their lives. Can we say that we are free? Can we ever feel that we can breathe a better way of life? When will we realize that all men are created equal, and we are put here to beautify this earth, just as the flowers that bloom, like the birds that sing, and all living things are born to be free. So the next time you think of being free, ask yourself this question: what do I do to make my brother, my fellow man, feel like he is free today? Freedom. That's the thing. Freedom.
Thank you. Next, we have Timeless Thomas, Darren Swan. All right. All right, please remember to introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me, City of Wilmington. So I'm here because I'm outraged, right? But I'm educatedly outraged. So it came past my desk that the mayor, in his leadership, expressed that us citizens who were concerned about some residency issues, and we stood together collectively, and we did it in the correct order, and for whatever reason, it's like he took his ball and left the park. So he said that we were a mob. Here's why we have to address this the correct way. Because once somebody puts a label on you, right, then another kind of people are going to judge you based on that label. And with his influence, power, and leadership, if he allows people who are already functioning in trauma, we're in poverty, we're 80% black and brown in this city, for cultural humility's sake. If we allow him to label us that, and then people start creating laws around this label, or people start disqualifying our votes or opinions based on, now we're being character. A mob is a very bad word to use. Especially if you're Brody in real estate hiring the, never mind. Who builds that? What, the mob has those concrete companies? Forget it. So a lot of times a liar thinks somebody's lying to him. A thief thinks somebody's stealing from them. So a mobster is going to automatically think you're some type of mobster. We're not a mob. We're a city. We have a right to our opinion. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have last name Adero. First name begins with a K. Last name Adero. All right, next we have H. Ralston Jr. Thank you for joining us, and please watch your step as you get to the podium.
In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Thank you, Mr. President and City Council members, along with city residents and others who are in attendance. It has long been said that when 5 whites get together, it's a group. When 5 blacks get together, it's a mob or a gang. It is also understood that Mayor Michael Przicki harbors the exact same sentiments. I've witnessed it many times when a group of whites get together talking about nothing, it is acceptable. When blacks get together talking about something, it is unacceptable. I experienced the same mentality at my last place of employment, and I'm 100% sure the same mentality is ever present in this Lewis L. Redding City County building for black employees. Mayor Michael Przicki, if you want to describe something as being mob rule, what you allowed the Bacini polling group, Rob Bacini, and the Wilmington Land Bank to get away with was mob rule. The misappropriating and taking of millions and millions of dollars from the East Side redevelopment efforts for years and years. That was mob rule. Mayor Michael Przicki, you haven't said a word about that. In fact, you gave them cover by blending them into your city operation. We sent letters and made many phone calls to Joseph Rogowski of the Delaware Department of Justice, Division of Civil Rights and Public Trust, and we received no response. He ignored us completely. I'm sure you are aware of the violations of our civil rights and public trust. That's mob rule. Mayor Michael Przicki, I believe that you are a Dino, Democrat in name only. Your actions say clearly that you are a Republican, and I'm almost certain that you align yourself with Donald J. Trump. I've never heard you denounce Trump or any of his racist and anti-American comments. Trump has probably pledged his allegiance to Russia or to one of the many white hate groups such as the Proud Boys, Aryan Brotherhood, Skinheads, white nationalists, neocons, and other hate groups and anti-American groups. If you want to do something to show your real grit, denounce Trump. And I believe that John Carney is just like Donald J. Trump and Mayor Michael Przicki, who are all products of the same Anglo-Saxon superiority complexes. I believe that they harbor the same implicit biases against black, brown, and some whites who would treat others fairly. Mayor Michael Przicki and Governor John Carney, if you want to do something to help our city address the homeless issue for the unhoused. Immigrants are being housed throughout the country in shelters, hotels, and even school buildings, maybe even in Delaware. If America can find solutions to house the immigrants, surely, Mr. Mayor, you and Governor John Carney can be a part of the process to house the homeless. It has also been said that the pyramids of old were built when all the minds came together. This is one of our pyramid building situations. Because of these failures on the part of Mayor Michael Przicki and Governor John Carney, I support Velda Jones Potter for Wilmington's next mayor. Thank you very much.
Next we have Pastor Derek Johnson. Also, please keep in mind that we cannot do any political campaigning or advocacy during public comment. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of council, neighbors, and citizens of Wilmington. I'm Pastor D. Johnson of the Joshua Harvest Church in the Wilmington community. I've come tonight to encourage, ask, and insist that the resolution, which has been presented by Councilwoman Darby, that it be passed, and that we all of good conscience and every council member of good conscience support this resolution, not as a punitive action to Mayor Persicki, but if a close examination of the letter which has caused the outrage and hurt of myself and many citizens of Mr. Persicki's words is examined in its totality, then I'm sure every council person and citizen will join her in her quest for this resolution. Not only were the mayor's words incendiary, but they were political in nature. I don't believe that the words were mistakenly placed, but rather strategically placed in a spirit that has captured American politics, frankly. It is a virus, a divisive virus and strategy that's being used all over our democracy that demeans and diminishes the people's trust in the democratic process. For instance, when the mayor described citizens acting in their constitutional right and manner as they did here in these chambers, when he described it as a mob rule situation, he used a trigger word, or what we call a dog whistle word, that says to the general public that a lawless activity is taking place, that possibly intimidating activity is taking place, such as we witnessed on January 6th. It is a dog whistle word that signals to the viewing and the listening public that we here in Wilmington are lawless, and the people who filled the chambers, who were more than African Americans. There were Palestinians in the chambers. There were Israelis in the chambers, all acting and functioning the same way and expressing themselves the same way. And yet he chose to describe their activities as mob rule. But even more threatening than that, the votes of our city council persons who, for whatever reason, after pains of consciousness and hearing and deliberating among yourselves, were described as having acted as a result of intimidation. It sent a message to Wilmington citizens that democracy did not take place, but rather lawless intimidation took place. That indictment of those council members should outrage them, because what I witnessed was council members who deliberated and listened and watched, and at the end of the day, they voted their conscience as we expect them today. And then he described the actions, the protocol actions of our city council president, all of this being publicized by our mayor, his protocol actions, and how our president governed the proceedings as being lawless and not correct. This all undermines democracy and unity in the city of Wilmington. And this requires a response. If we say then that this was a miscalculated mistake, our mayor had a bad day, then we must look at the historical record as to whether this type of incendiary language has been used before by our mayor. It certainly has. The history records that this type of language has been used again to question the integrity of some of our esteemed council members with regard to their handling of funding and grants in our community. Nonsensical statements made by our mayor that borders along the lines of libel or slander. This
30
is,
seconds.
again, a virus. I will conclude, a virus. It is a language and a tactic, political in nature, that we cannot afford. It reminds me of this language that the mayor used, reminds me in conclusion of the virus that we face. The value of gold went down. Your money and your power, that value went down during the virus. The value of paper masks went up. Tonight, the value of a paper mask to stop the virus of undermining undemocratic language by our mayor is this resolution, and I urge you to support this resolution and pass it. Thank you.
Thank you.
President Congo,
Yes.
can we have rules of 3 minutes per speaker, and we're going to be here all night if we don't enforce the rules. Can we please stick to 3 minutes?
Yes, we just want to remind everyone that we do have a time frame of 3 minutes. I have allowed the first several speakers to go past that, but please keep in mind that you have 3 minutes. And next we have Pastor Reverend Martha Doris. All right, thank you. Next we have Helen Furman. And please watch your step as you come to the podium. And please introduce yourself. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, everyone. My name is Helen, and I live in the 5th District. And we are property owners and taxpayers. And this resolution has come to me along with the fact that I was here the night of the public comments about the residency requirement. The request to lower the residency requirement surprised me, quite frankly. I never wanted it. But people came in here, this whole place was filled, and one after the other, people spoke about why they did not want it. I think if I'm correct, it carried on another night. I wasn't there that night. But the city council listened, and some changed their opinions because they listened. And so the resolution was voted down. Whether people came in here and all had an agenda or not, in some ways it doesn't really matter. They got to speak, they spoke their piece, the council voted, it wasn't passed, and the mayor lost. He lost. He was disappointed. And maybe in his reaction to his disappointment, he was very frustrated. So let's think about the fact that this man was elected twice, and he's now at his 8th year and will be stepping down in, 11 months, I think. I hadn't heard this expression before, mob rule, quite frankly. But I would like to invite you to know that in my neighborhood, which is zip code 19801 in the 5th District, our issues are public safety. And I watched a program on television, and on the program, it showed that the cartel has been dumping loads of guns all over our cities. You know, arming our youth, others. And I live in the middle of heroin and fentanyl, you know. And I've had blood spilled on the steps of my church in front of the, I'm have to give me a minute here. in front of the Daughters of Charity, these people who give their whole lives up, okay, to bring good things to the city. Sister Joan walks out at 7 in the morning. A man pulls up his car. Ronald Wallace, age 43, walks out. 8 successive bullets destroy his body, and he dies.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
And I just want to say that's my issue. I don't want to get into this back and forth rhetoric. I know what the mob is. The mob arms our communities. I know this much. I will say this in closing. Mayor Purzycki isn't perfect. I don't know anybody, though, that could accomplish what he's done for us as a city. He's trying to bring in taxpayers. We have a lot of tax takers. If you don't bring taxpayers in here, there's no money for benefits. And that has been his goal in building up a beautiful city. He's carried forward Mayor Sills' vision. Mayor Sills laid the foundation block for the Riverfront Initiative, of which we are also grateful. It was his vision that put forward Loma and the coffee shops and the businesses. Mayor Purzycki's put the icing on the top of that cake. Never mind what Baker has added, Williams has added.
That's your time.
And as far as homeless, Mayor Purzycki has placed the homeless in Homeless Tower. So I would say, let's come together and discuss what he meant by a mob. I think there was, hot tempers maybe, rhetoric going back and forth. I think to pass the resolution, though, is unfair because it means zero confidence. And I don't think that's fair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Pastor Larry Mathis. Please watch your step.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to everyone on the chairmen and to all of the councilmen. I was here also on that night, and I just wanted to speak a little bit on this legislative business. I was a little heated about reading the paper, and I was a little bit embarrassed that he would even talk to his colleagues and say that he was embarrassed about your decision, your ears, your listening to the citizens, and the citizens is the one who put people in the chairs. I do stand behind Councilman Darby, and I like to thank all of the other council people that are here tonight, and ask that if you would do the same as I'm going to do, is stand behind her with this resolution. As a kid, I know a lot of us were taught that when you were wrong, right is right and wrong is wrong. And what Mr. Purzycki, Mayor Purzycki, did was wrong, and he should apologize. He outright publicly said that his colleagues that work hard, that go out and make things happen for the citizens, that was an embarrassment. That you guys were an embarrassment to him. And you go out and you make things happen. You my heroes because you work for the people. And just all he had to do was publicly apologize. Mayor Purzycki is also before even becoming a mayor, he was a developer. So he should build because that's what he knows how to do. But he definitely don't know how to apologize.
Thank you. So we do have 4 more speakers. We have 1 in council chambers and 3 who are going to speak virtually. So before we do that, per council rules, I'm going to accept a motion to extend public comment past 7:30. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next we have Kathleen Patterson.
Good evening. My name is Kathleen. Excuse me. My name is Kathleen Patterson. I'm a resident of the city of Wilmington in the 2nd District. I just came tonight to say that I do not support the resolution and no confidence in the mayor. I'm not really sure that it accomplishes anything. I'm not saying the mayor was right in the things he said. I'm not saying he was wrong, but this is not, in my opinion, a good use of council time to consider this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have D. Marquis Hall.
Good evening, Devon Marquis Hall, D. Marquis Hall. I live in the 3rd District. I'm grateful to be here tonight. It is January 18th, 2024, the day after Muhammad Ali, one of my heroes' birthdays, and I guess 3 days after a lot of our heroes, Martin Luther King Jr., we celebrated on Monday. 4 days, if my math right. This weather has been something else, and I thought about it. This cold, this ice, this dangerous weather that we have to bundle up for, that we're blessed if we have warmth for. It makes you appreciate what you have. If you don't have a home, imagine being out there in the cold. Now, this spring, we have to look forward to. We're going to be so grateful for it, and it's winter time, and we're in Delaware. This is Wilmington, Delaware. It's normal for us to have this sort of weather, and cleaning it up, making sure that it's shoveled is a responsibility that we should all take pride in being able to shovel up. If we can, shovel up for our neighbors that are elderly, that would be an awesome thing. If we can clean up, if we can do what needs to be done, if we can make sure that those who can't do for themselves are done for, we have to make sure that they're taken care of. All the sympathy that was lifted up, I can't help but think about those that we've lost very recently. And that moment of silence, it means so much. Those prayers, every name. Right now, folks are dealing with loss that is unimaginable to some. Every day, it seems like someone else is taken away. And I'm not up here for any sort of selfish gain or any sort of desire to make sure that anyone hears anything that they don't need to hear. I felt like the most important thing that I could say tonight is to be grateful. Just be grateful for where you are, what you have, who you have, what you're doing, where you're going. Because you're going somewhere it's better than where you're at today. And I know that spring is coming, and we're going to be so much more grateful for it. And I want to lift up a prayer for our governor. I was down in Dover today. The state of the state was today.
You have 30 seconds.
And because of Governor Carney's sickness, he wasn't able to give the state of the state. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but that guy wakes up at 5 o'clock every morning and he's in the gym. So for him not to be able to deliver the state of the state today, it must be something serious. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, virtually, we have Tamika Brooks Colick.
Hello.
Hello,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Good evening, counselors. My name is Tamika Brooks Colick. I'm a wife, a mother, an educator of 25 years, a member of District 3 Neighborhood Planning Council, chair of the 11th Street Bridge Community Long-Term Recovery Group, Incorporated, and resident and homeowner in the 11th Street Bridge neighborhood. I would like to speak tonight in support of the Brandywine River Restoration Trust, the BRRT easement to access Dam 6 for removal for the following purposes: to enable the migration of American shad for the first time in 300 years, improve water quality and ecology, improve and provide new recreational opportunities for residents, neighbors, and visitors, such as fishing, and also to reduce flooding in vulnerable sections in the city of Wilmington. On September 2nd, 2021, just before the Labor Day weekend, many of us in the 11th Street Bridge neighborhood were preparing for our day as community service workers, school counselors, private sector workers like Amazon and our local banks, City of Wilmington employees, healthcare workers, teachers, at-home families like grandparents, retirees, and the like. We opened our doors to find the Brandywine Creek water coming up our street. Within the hour, the water rose to about 3 feet midway of our cars, and by 8 a.m., as some of us were able to come out and look below and beyond from our decks, 6 to 7 feet of water. Others were standing or otherwise waiting, fighting for their survival through the waters flowing through their garages, kitchen, and other living spaces. For the next 12 hours, as we endured the newfound trauma, we waited for rescue, next steps, the water to recede, and eventually answers as to how and why this unexpected devastation found us here in the 11th Street Bridge area. As we processed these questions, we found ourselves facing straight on the realizations of homeowners insurance or lack thereof, renters insurance or lack thereof, car insurance, FEMA, Red Cross, United Way, DEMA, Maryland VOAD, Delaware VOAD, you name it. We were seeking assistance to understand what happened and how to move forward. We faced many obstacles. Many were resolved they had to leave their homes, sell their homes, became homeless, missed time from work. We faced grief and loss. We lost important papers, pictures, keepsakes, clothing, food, cars, etc. We suffered emotional and physical challenges, especially from the overwhelming mold that resulted from the water damage, and the list goes on. It has since been 2.5 years, and we have still yet to recover all of the over 200 residents that were impacted by this flood to where they were pre-flood. So I ask you, counselors, as the voice and representative of us all, to support the work of the BRRT as it represents and presents a unique opportunity for you, the council members who represent us, the people who own our homes, we pay our taxes, and otherwise reside in the city of Wilmington, to make an environmentally just decision for all constituents, not just some, but all, especially those who are often undermined and underrepresented. As you know, the mitigation strategies cost millions of dollars.
That's your time.
However, this work is already being planned, it's in process, and it's done. And if you check on their website, the study is already in process, and it will cost the city maybe close to nothing. This process is being done with agencies within our neighboring state, and we in the city of Wilmington can benefit from this work. From the videos and pictures of the effects from the flood, from Hurricane Ida from 2021, and the impact on our community in the 11th Street Bridge community that was sent to emails, that is also depicted online, we in the 11th Street Bridge community also desire to live in safe and secure homes. And I implore our counselors to choose to support and do what is environmentally and economically just for all constituents. This concludes my petition and comments before you, and I thank you for your time and consideration. Tamika Brooks Colick, Chair of the 11th Street Bridge Community Long-Term Recovery Group. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Just as a friendly reminder, the resolution that was just spoken to is not on this evening's agenda, but it will be on our agenda for February the 1st. Next, we have Sultan Taskin. All right, thank you. Next, we have Michael Jacobs. Michael Jacobs. Next, we have Christina Kelly.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for an opportunity to address the council members. I will try to keep my comment as brief as possible. It will be twofold, however, this evening. So firstly, I'd like to speak in opposition of agenda item number 0382, which is once again Wilmington Police Department applying for grants for additional utility vehicles, electrical bikes, etc. While I understand that there is no city match, no local match required for the initial purchase of these items, we've seen time and time again, these items cost a lot of money annually to maintain. So I personally feel that without additional grants to cover the maintenance of these vehicles, for example, a Gator utility vehicle typically costs between $2,000 and $5,000 annually to maintain, that we should not be continuing to add more fun toys for the police department and instead focusing on the 22,000 housing unit shortage that is facing residents. Just places where we can better use money and better use our time. Secondly, for the resolution for a vote of no confidence for Michael Przicki, I am absolutely in agreement with this resolution. And I do think that it is important to note that, yes, while he is at the end of his term and is at the end of, his 2 terms, he has still an obligation to be addressed and to address when he messes up. Making comments about democracy in action and relegating them to actions of a mob is disgusting. It's really gross. And while we know that we cannot expect an apology from the mayor without being pushed, I would hope that this resolution would be the bare minimum push for him to apologize to the people that he is supposed to be an authority over. In conclusion, I'd like to close out with a quote, and I hope that, some council members will keep this in mind. No oppression is so heavy or lasting as that which is inflicted by the perversion and exorbitance of legal authority. One Joseph Addison. Thank you.
Thank you. And WITN, do you see Michael Jacobs or Sultan Taskin? Okay, Michael Jacobs. Or he might be having some technical difficulty. So at this time, we are going to move to legislative business. Final reminder that pursuant to our rules, the sponsor is entitled to speak first and last. Each council member may speak twice for up to 5 minutes each time. This evening, we are going to go a little out of order. We're going to start with Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have an ordinance to call for third and final reading.
Ordinance 24001, Agenda 0376, an ordinance constituting amendment number 2 to the fiscal year 2024 operating budget, being an ordinance to amend ordinance number 23030.
Okay. Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause of ordinance to call for a yea-nay vote.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
This is a budget ordinance to the budget we passed last year. It's actually, some folks may have heard me comment on this in the last council meeting and also talk about it in Finance Committee. This is a grave, actually urgent crisis that came to the city's attention recently. Essentially, it's shifting our budget reserve, which thankfully, due to smart fiscal strategy, we do have a budget reserve for emergencies such as this. is transferring $3.6 million to operate temporarily the EMS service, the ambulance service for St. Francis. In the prior decades, it was a zero cost contract that St. Francis provided to the citizens of Wilmington. Unfortunately, that's changed due to many fiscal pressures outside of St. Francis's control. They alerted the city they're no longer able to operate this contract at no cost to the city due to some many issues regarding billings, collections. They serve mostly, of course, the disadvantaged, the underinsured, Medicaid, recipients, and it's just not, unfortunately, it's not a workable system. So I ask for all my colleagues' support. This is a temporary Band-Aid on a situation, as we are strategizing right now with the administration to potentially set up a EMS service within the City of Wilmington Fire Department. Again, this is something that is a shameful that in America, health is not a right. That there's even charges for ambulance runs. I have no idea why in this country health and housing still is not a right, but at council, at least we have to provide our citizens the necessary services. No one should get a bill when they get taken to the hospital. It's not right. And I know some entities do it, but it's just not right. And I hope this council stands behind continuing these services at no cost to our residents until we can find out a long-term plan. There has been several stats, memos, also financial information circulated about the EMS program. I believe operationally right now there's a deficit of $9.5 million in St. Francis' budget. So this is even with this, there's still a significant issue with keeping our community hospital going. And the EMS service, there's this, I believe the number was over 30,000 runs per year. That includes, basic life support and also obviously, assault victims, shooting victims, any health crisis in the city. So they are they are the heroes of our community. We continue to stand by them at council, and we look forward to having full support. I can answer any questions anyone has, and definitely get to strategizing a long-term approach to managing this cost to the city. But the good thing is there's negotiation with the state right now. Hopefully they will be able to kick in some funds for a city EMS program. So there is a bright light on the other side once we get through this rough patch. I can answer any questions.
Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you. I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor, and hopefully the state or Newcastle County will contribute some funding.
Thank you. Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you. I just had a statement. I just wanted to actually wanted to be certain that when it came to Councilman Johnson, that 30,000, I think it's a little lower than that, but the fact that we are a city of only like 70,000, to have 20-something thousand runs for the ambulance is a lot. My statement is allocating this unbudgeted sum is a challenge. The council aims to sustain EMS services for the city with only one organization responding to the request for proposal. Our focus is on being fiscally responsible while delivering essential life-saving services crucial to a thriving Wilmington. I will be supporting this ordinance for the well-being of our city.
Thank you. Seeing no other hands raised, turn to the sponsor. Any closing comments?
No, I think Chair, Public Safety Chair McCoy put it perfectly. Again, we got to roll up our sleeves and figure this out. Actually, we only have a few months to figure this out. So I implore everyone, not only this Public Safety Committee, all council to participate. We'll keep everyone updated. Council Member McCoy is, of course, working lead on this with the fire department. But this is a crisis. We got to figure this out. Because the cost to the fire department without state help will most likely be, more than $4 million. So, again, we'll address it. Next step, we'll keep all council apprised of this.
Thank you. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy? Yes. President Congo,
Yes.
13 yeas.
Declared adopted. Councilmember Darby?
Yes, Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 24001, Agenda 0377, whereas on July 27, 2022, Governor John C. Carney Jr. signed Delaware House
I
Bill.
move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted for a yea and nay vote.
Is there a second? Second. It's been properly moved and seconded that resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea or nay vote. On the question?
Yes, so this resolution is solely about specifically the comments that were made in Mayor Mike Przicki's and his, I guess, frustration that residency didn't go in his favor. In the comments, and I really don't have to say much. I think the community said what they needed to say, and with the weather and the storm coming tomorrow, I wish more would have been able to come, but I know that due to that, they weren't able to come. But I know that this resolution expresses a vote of no confidence for Mayor Mike Przicki for his comments criticizing his constituents who, funds and pays his paycheck every month, for exercising their First Amendment rights. And I just think it's unfair in how he categorized the group of people who came here that night. And I think it matters because the community has a voice, and they asked for this and wanted to come out and voice their opinion. So that's the way this whole thing happened. I just think it's unfortunate that our constituents are treated this way and have been treated this way for the last 8 years. So that's all I have.
Councilmember Johnson?
I haven't weighed in publicly on this, but I definitely understand and I respect the spirit of what we're doing. What I will say is I back what our council president and his decision, his statement he made from his desk, his office, in reaction to that. So that was, I believe, the appropriate measured approach. I think our council president, it was really well written, well said. And I think he expressed the sentiments of council on this. And again, it was unfortunate what happened, and the mayor did not approach it the right way. The vote did not go his way, and city council continues to listen to the community. However, a vote of no confidence, strategically, I don't know. I don't believe that's a tactic in terms of unifying, bringing together a city. Because I don't have confidence in what he did there, but I do have confidence in a lot he has done, especially to provide for disadvantaged parts of Wilmington and also bring our city up. So I can't say no confidence totally. Maybe in this situation he didn't handle it the best, sure, but I don't believe this is appropriate. We need to move forward, continue to move forward as a city, work on this budget, continuing on housing, double down on providing shelter and EMS services. So that's my 2 cents. Again, I don't condone his behavior, his statement. I don't think it speaks for any people that changed their mind. It was nothing that had to do with doing our job. So, again, I hope we can move forward past this and work with the mayor and, just go from there. Hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Thank you. Councilmember Oliver?
Thank you, Mr. President. I do understand where Councilman Darby is coming from. I do understand where Councilman Johnson is coming from. No one's been more criticized than myself. I think I come from a background working in Dover with Senator Henry Marshall. I remember Leo Marshall. I remember Loretta. This seat, politics in general could be very contentious and hot and heavy. I mean, I see Joey in the background. I see Joy back there. Back in the day, people would, slam the door, say a couple cuss words. I didn't even see them fighting before. But nowadays, everybody is real sensitive. And I've lived it and I see it, and it's weird. But you see it in the White House. You see who's leading. But when it comes to a level of this, everybody seems to be extra sensitive. And I know nobody's lived it like, I won't call her name, but she's been here for 100 years, so she's seen to be behind the back doors and the front doors. And I do agree that the mayor was wrong. I think it was very disrespectful to talk about council members and whatever else was said. But I do think the president, President Congo, read in your letter, putting it in the paper. I received so many calls how you handled it very professionally, and you spoke for the whole body. So, I mean, I see both sides, but by me being censored and all that, it doesn't do anything. It just gives you an article. And he is not running for office. That doesn't make it right. Like I said, I'm going to say it publicly. I do think it was wrong, but I'm more interested in, working on a budget, trying to help bring awareness to the opium addiction in my district, putting some more lights. It's other things I'm interested in. Like, I'm not going to go back and forth with some of this, and I don't think it's petty. I do understand it, but just for me, some of the issues that I'm addressing right now, that's not one. I think we need to get people registered to vote, take care of our constituents, and spend some time on some other stuff. I got 100 things to worry about, and the mayor's not one. Thank you.
Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you. I had a quick comment. Basically, was just stating that what you stated in the in the article was sufficient for those who felt as though it needed to be said, and I felt there was no other action was needed. On the other side of that, I just wanted to state that I hear what everyone said. A lot of people are looking me in my face when they're talking about how people change their opinion. They listen to, the constituents, which I really did. I've always tried to make certain that this was never a side thing, but more so about what is best for the city. Did I feel attacked? I did. Did I feel intimidated? No. I didn't feel intimidated, but I definitely did feel attacked. For the people that I cared about, that I loved in this city, to tell me the things that I wasn't doing right or whatever, it hurt. And I realized then that I truly have never been truly a politician. I've always been community engagement, making certain that I did right by my constituents and the residents here within the city. So, politics I may not know well, but I definitely know about making certain I'm listening and people are able to talk and tell me how they feel, and for me to be able to gauge and weigh that. So, as I stated before, President Congo, your response that needed to be given, I felt as though it was sufficient, and I wasn't going to take it. I didn't think any other action was needed.
Thank you. Councilmember Fields.
Thank you. I wasn't going to comment at all, but I think it was said perfectly by Councilmember Johnson, Councilmember McCoy, that you, President Congo, you addressed it perfectly, successfully. I think everybody understood exactly where you were coming from. So I don't see the need for it. I just think your dissertation to the whole comment from Mayor Pazicki was right on point. And I think you speak for the whole body, if not for the whole body, for some. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Harley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I pretty much, want to share some of the very same sentiments as my council colleagues in terms of your response to the press release. But before I say all that I want to say, first of all, that I do respect the residents that showed up tonight and those that called in to share their perspective regarding the language that was used in the press release. I also want to say for the record that I contacted the mayor personally because I do believe that, some things you do, everybody has their different leadership styles. I'll just put it like that. I contacted the mayor to express my displeasure with the language that was used in the press release, the term mob, I shared with him that it was degrading, it was demeaning, and it was disrespectful. And I do believe, that our residents, and they are our taxpayers, and I look at them as our customers, and I feel as though everyone had a right to share their perspectives as it related to the residency. Yes, did it get passionate? Yes, it did, but I still believe that regardless of that, they should always be treated with the utmost respect. And I also want to say that, do I believe an apology is in order? I absolutely do. Whether one is given or not, I do believe one is in order. But I cannot say that I believe that I just don't feel as though there's no confidence in Mayor Przicki, because when I think about some of the great wins that we've had, those of us that have been working as a team to make sure that funds are got out in the community for our last budget, and we are starting to work together to make sure that those funds are duplicated to get out in the community, around the home repairs and the water bill utility assistance, the first time home buyers assistance. That money that we put in the budget, we work with the mayor to get that done. And the majority of those funds were felt within the communities. So I cannot honestly sit here and say I have no confidence. Did I agree with this 100%? No, not at all. But I did express to him personally my displeasure with it, but I cannot say that I have no confidence. And I too want to focus more on us working as a team for the constituents, and our residents regarding our upcoming budget, and voting no confidence at this point in time would not help with us moving the city forward to help our communities, which desperately need more funding. And that is what I'm more focused on tonight. But I do want those that share their sentiments to know that I do respect what they have to say, and I did not agree with it at all, but we need to move forward. And your response to the press release, in my opinion, was appropriate, and I'm good with that. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. And I do want to before I return back to the sponsor, I do want to thank all of you for your comments regarding my response. I know a couple council members said that it was successful, but I don't believe that it was a successful response, because I just wholeheartedly believe that the mayor owes the residents an apology, and he didn't apologize. And people make mistakes, and no one's perfect. But I think that when you make a mistake, you have to own that mistake, and you have to apologize, and you have to try to do better. And he has done none of that since then. And this vote of no confidence speaks specifically to that, not to his terms as mayor. I agree that he has done some great things for our city, but this isn't speaking to his total time as mayor. It's speaking to what he said and how he categorized people who look like us as council. There were black people, there were white people, there were Latinos, there were mothers, fathers, there were patriarchs, there were matriarchs, there were children, and he categorized the whole process as being mob-led. And I just think that is extremely unfair. It was very hurtful for him to do that, and that's why I responded. But I think this is totally appropriate because he didn't follow up my response with an apology. And if he had done that, I would not support this, because I think that he would have owned up to what he did. And pretty much across the board, council members have said that what he did was wrong. But he hasn't acknowledged that publicly, like he publicly categorized that whole process. So yes, I will be supporting this. I want to thank you, Councilmember Darby, for even bringing it up, because I think that we owe it to our constituents. But even bigger than that, I think that he does, and it's not too late. Honestly, I thought that it was a prank. That's how terrible that press release was. I thought that it was a joke, and I thought that he was going to come back with an apology, but he hasn't. So yes, I'm going to be supporting this. I return back to the sponsor, Councilmember Darby.
Yeah, thank you. So this is my last few comments. This is about a specific action, as I have put a note down from what people were talking about. This is not talking about anything else with Mayor Mike Przicki, anything else he may have or did not do. This is about one specific action. So I just wanted to make that clear that this vote isn't about Mayor Mike Przicki and his whole entire 8 years of what he has done, but specifically just these comments. So the press release that came out was from President Congo, but that did not allow the community to get a chance to speak. Council resolutions, committee meetings, council meetings are a chance for the community to speak. They never had a chance to voice how they felt. I also believe in being multifaceted, so I can and do focus on multiple issues at once. So this can be focused on along as all the other projects I work on. And I think an apology needs to happen. He was wrong. He has not apologized yet. So I don't know what is going to make him apologize or what you guys consider effective. But I think it's a day and age and time now where we have to be very clear that people, you just can't do or say what you want, especially about constituents. You have to look at your actions as a council person, your actions as an elected official, and you need to come up with higher morals and standards. And that's what this is about. So thank you.
Thank you. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
No.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
No.
Councilwoman Harley,
No.
Councilwoman Fields,
No.
Councilwoman McCoy,
No.
Councilman Johnson,
No.
Councilman Field,
No.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
No.
Councilman Mills,
No.
Councilman Spadola.
No.
Did you say no?
Say it again, James.
Thank you.
No.
Councilwoman Bracy,
No.
President Congo.
Yes.
11 nays and 2 yeas.
Declare defeated. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I have a resolution to present, 0378.
Resolution 24002, Agenda 0378, whereas on February 1st, 2024, an ordinance will be introduced before City Council proposing amendments to Chapter 48 of the City Code to revise the height, floor, area ratio.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea and nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this resolution schedules a public hearing on February the 15th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers regarding ordinance proposing amendments to Chapter 48 and the City Code to revise the height, floor, and to ratio in the building coverage ratio requirement for the W3 waterfront low-intensity manufacturing commercial recreation zoning district. Okay, let me finish that, I'm sorry. Members of the public will be allowed to participate in the public hearing in person in city council chambers, virtually in accordance with 29 Delaware's Code 10006A. The instructions of virtual participation will provide on the agenda for February 15th, 2024 council member meeting, I'm sorry.
And seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
13 yeas.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have another resolution.
Declared adopted. Councilmember Oliver, you may
Thank you,
continue.
Mr. President. I have another resolution to present on behalf of 0379.
Resolution 24003, Agenda 0379, whereas on February 1st, 2024, an ordinance will be introduced before City Council proposing an amendment to the building zone map of Wilmington, Delaware, to change the zoning classification of the parcel of land located 1195 East 7th Street.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, adopted by yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this resolution is scheduled for public hearing on February 15th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. in the City Council chambers regarding the ordinance proposing to rezone in the partial land located at 1195 East 7th Street, being tax parcel number 26-052-00-0004 from a zoning classification to W4 waterfront residential commercial and zoning classification W3 waterfront low intensity manufacturing commercial recreation. Members of the public will be allowed to participate in this public hearing in person in the City Council chambers or virtual in accordance to 29 Delaware C 111006A. The instructions for virtual participation will be provided on the agenda for February 15, 2024 council meeting.
Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
13 yeas.
Declared adopted.
That's all, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Harley.
Yes, Mr. President, I have a resolution to present on your behalf.
Resolution 24004, Agenda 0380, whereas the City Council Task Force to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans with a special consideration for African Americans who are descendants of persons enslaved in the United States was established by Resolution Number 20080 as amended and is timely modified by Resolution Number 23050. And whereas
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this resolution basically is amending Resolution 23-050 and Resolution 20-080 to allow adequate time for the City Council Task Force to study and develop reparation proposals for African American studies with a special consideration for African Americans who are the descendants of persons enslaved in the United States, as we know, that are known as the Reparations Task Force. They want to be able to synthesize their findings and their recommendations, put them into a final report for presentation to the council. So they need this time and an opportunity to do just that.
Thank you. And seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yeah.
Council,
Yes to the motion. I'm sorry.
thank you. Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
13 yeas.
Declared adopted.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember McCoy.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 24005, Agenda 0381, whereas City Council enacted City Code Section 2232, establishing procedures for the Chief of the Wilmington Police Department to call for the commencement of an academy class if the manpower of the police department falls below 95% of the number of police officers set forth in the position allocation list attached to the annual operating budget ordinance for the applicable fiscal year.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote.
Second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President. In this resolution, City Council recognizes that the Chief of Police Department has represented that the manpower of the police department has fallen below 95% of the number of police officers set forth in the position allocation listed attached to the fiscal year 2024. So the annual operating budget ordinance and has drafted a resolution calling for the commencement of an academy class. I did have something to state to that. So on January 5th, 2024, the Wilmington Police Department, we hosted a graduation ceremony for a new cohort of police officers. Despite having fewer graduates than anticipated, Chief Campos is confident in his ability to maintain or to have a complete academy class.
And seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
No.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
No.
11 yeas and 2 nays.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 24006, Agenda 0382, whereas pursuant to Section 2363 of the City Code, City Council deem it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications and proposals, including authorization for expedited grant applications when necessary prior to council's approval by resolution.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by yea or nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second the resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea or nay vote on the question.
This resolution authorizes the Wilmington Police Department's grant application of the State of Delaware Special Law Enforcement Assistance Fund, which we call SLEAF, in the amount of $121,000. The proposed grant funds will be used to purchase a laser measuring system, a Gator utility vehicle, and I think it's 6 electric bicycles. There are no matching funds required, and there's no negative fiscal impact to the city.
Councilmember Darby?
Yes, thank you. I wanted to say my comments, I guess, for the last legislation in regards to the Wilmington Police Department. I am not in support of legislation supporting the Wilmington Police Department spending any more funds on things like this. And if you go to policescorecard.org and look at the data that is collected about Wilmington Police Department, it is overfunded and overstaffed. I think we should use the money to actually complete the audit that we asked to be done 2 years ago, where we will get a third party to come to our Wilmington Police Department and do an extensive audit internally and externally of it. So we had the power, we used our power during the budget to make sure that the money was there, but we have not used our power as a city council to make sure that it happens. And this is the best way to make it happen. And we control how much money they get coming in. We control that. So we have the power to vote and say no to make sure that the audit happens. And it's been about 2 years now. We also have a Wilmington Police Department that operates Safe Streets, where police team up with probation officers and parole officers. And they're currently, it's a lawsuit now, but where they're racially biased policing, they're making unreasonable arrests. They're stopping and frisking and searching people without reasonable suspicion or probable cause. There are so many issues internally within the police department and externally, and we have not, as a city council, collectively held them accountable. And this is the best way to do it with our voting power. So every day, every time this comes, I will vote no until that audit happens and we have a conversation about how do we reform our Wilmington Police Department. No, I'm not doing it.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes. Again, how the mayor and the police department runs is their business. We can certainly try to hold them accountable, put pressure to get them to do the things that we would like them to do. However, when I look at this particular grant and what we're getting with it, you know, this community has been crying for the community policing to return, which is now called the Community Engagement Unit. We know that by having the same police officers in the neighborhood, engaging with the community, building those relationships, that helps to solve crimes, that helps to build that trust, and it helps us keep crime down in our city, which we have seen a reduction. So when I look at the tools that Wilmington Police Department needs to do their job, certainly it would be irresponsible not to support that. The bicycles, I mean, I heard in public comment somebody actually complaining about the bicycles when this is what they need to get around, so that instead of being in police cars and squads, they're actually accessible. You can see the police officers stop to them, talk to them. And most importantly, the community engagement initiatives, that's what I see most of all. As it is, we graduated a class of 7 police officers, and I know that there's issues with public safety, not just in Wilmington, across the board. And as a community and as council members, yes, we must continue to hold our police department and those that break the rules accountable, because they too must follow the rules. But not giving our police officers, especially when we have so many good police officers that do their job, giving the tools that they need, that's a failure of our duty. That's it.
Councilmember Oliver.
Yeah, thank you, Councilman, President. I just wanted to echo that, I do agree with Councilman Darby, but threw me off on the legislation because we had passed it, but we still haven't received that audit. That was one thing, but, I think that's something the president needs to follow up on, so we collectively know what's going on with that audit, because it has been some time now. But, working closely with Wilmington's team, community team with Deborah Mason, the collective group, they have shown that there has been a reduction in various areas as far as crime and carjacking, theft, etc. The numbers do show. So when I see no matching fundings, I think it's 2 different conversations going on. One is over here and one is over here, but I'm not one to penalize the whole police station for a few bad apples. I do understand that we're still waiting on the audit, but when you say no matching funds, I'm going to have to always support that, because it's nothing coming out of the taxpayers' pockets. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Fields.
Yes, thank you, Council President. The only thing I have to say to this piece of ordinance is that the community engagement team that we have out there currently, they are the ones that I'm in contact with. Captain Rosario, and Captain
Kill.
No,
Captain
Stoddard.
Too.
Oh yeah.
And him too. The way that they manage those teams, the community engagement team, I think it's a good thing. The community is starting to know them. They're starting to appreciate their presence. These officers are out there. They give the constituents their phone numbers so that they can text them whenever they see something going on. This is just the start. This is not the finish. So I think we can continually just see this grow. And I'm just going to say, for me, I like the community engagement team. And as my colleague, Councilwoman Oliver stated, we don't have to put any money into it. It's not taking nothing from us. So I'm going to vote yes for this. And I just commend what the community engagement team is doing. Thank you, WPD.
Thank you. Councilmember Harley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I want to ditto everything that my last 3 council members shared in terms of the progress that has been made within, I want to say, the new police department. Prior to Chief Campos coming into the position, there were a number of things that were being shared, a lot of discontentment, a lot of hostility in the workplace, etc. But we have to continue to have these conversations with those that are in these positions and being out on the ground and observing what's taking place. And my 2 cents would just be this, is that I've seen I can't say 360-degree change with Chief Campos, and not saying anything against our previous chief, but I can definitely see a difference and a change in terms of the community engagement team, as Council Member Fields just mentioned. I see them out on the ground. They're at the Civic Association meetings. They're giving out their numbers. Those that I've had conversations with previously, they even admitted that it's a change there. So I'm just saying that we have to continually have conversations. You got to build relationships. You got to talk. You got to find out. You got to check in and find out what's going wrong, and or if it's the same, or did anything change. And I have seen a big change. I love how they're at the Civic Association meetings when suggestions come up from the constituents in terms of them helping out, being more present, helping with community control. There's so much that I could just share in terms of what has changed within the police department that I would, I just could not support this, in addition to them getting some of the equipment that is needed to cut back with some of these car thefts with these babies. These bicycles, they can get in and out. It will definitely help them to do their job better. And I see a change. You talk to them, you meet with them, and you will find out things are changing. So I have to support this resolution. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councilmember McCoy.
Oh, no, I didn't know whether or not you were finished.
Yes, I am going to support the resolution. I have seen changes within the police department. I do know that Chief has his hands tied as far as an audit. That audit won't happen unless we hold the administration accountable, and I think that we have to do that as a council. I'm not sure how we can do that, but I think all of us as a council have to make that happen. So I don't want to penalize the chief for that. I believe that if he's given the green light, he would absolutely do it. And I don't want to restrict them at all, but I do think that we have to stay focused on holding the administration accountable when we can. There has been a change with the new chief, but we were granting the old chief everything that he asked for too. So at some point in time, we have to kind of say, is what we're doing effective? But I'm going to support this evening. And that's it. I'll return back to the sponsor.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, Councilmember Spadola, did you have your hand raised?
Yeah, that was earlier. Thank you.
Okay. And see no other hands raised, I'll return to our sponsor.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to state that Councilman Darby's inquiry into the audit is justified. The allocated funds have been placed for quite some time. It basically came right after a vote of no confidence for that chief. So those funds have been placed there for some time with minimal follow-up for the audit. This council dropped the ball. I've had this discussion before with President Congo, and if those funds are still available, perhaps we can have that discussion again. But it may not be. It needs to be confirmed. And if we need to confirm if those funds are still available for the audit or accessible for the audit. With that being stated, I do believe that when it comes to these funds, some of these things are, to me, I always laugh. I think of them as toys as well. But then there are things that, to me, are definitely pieces of equipment that matter. Like the very first thing, this measuring system for the crime scene reconstruction. We are still old school doing things with tape measures and stuff. If there are things that we need to get up to date with, then so be it. I'm all for it. The other thing was, I've actually had some back and forth about some law, making certain that we enforce laws that we already have on the books. I had discussions about what was going on with our youth when it comes to vandalism of cars and break-ins and things of that nature, and what can we do, what are our next steps. I would love to have a great conversation with my colleagues to see if there's anything else that we can do. And some of the feedback that I got from the social media was, you need to enforce the laws you already have. And I said, you know what, that may be a great idea, but guess what? We are told that we have excess police officers, so who's enforcing these laws if we're stating we have too many? And if we're unable to enforce laws as they are. So I feel like our conversations are topsy-turvy, and we need to figure out, we need to be concise with our messaging. I'm definitely supporting our police officers, but if there are things that we need, I'm definitely want to have those conversations and figure it out and sit with administration and say, this is what we need. I don't have a problem with follow-up. Okay, that's all I have to say.
And just before we do go to our roll call, I was informed by by Marshall that those funds are not available.
They've been there for a long time. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
Nope.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
President Congo?
No.
11 yeas and 2 nays.
Declared adopted.
Okay. Mr. President, I have another resolution to present.
Resolution 24007, Agenda 0383, whereas pursuant to Section 2363 of the City Code, City Council deem it necessary and proper to specify the requirement for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications and proposals, including authorization for expedited grant applications when necessary prior to council's approval by resolution.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
This resolution authorizes the Office of Emergency Management grant application to the Delaware Emergency Management Agency for fiscal year 2023 Emergency Management Performance Grant funds in the amount of $245,000. The funds will be used to support the operations of the Office of Emergency Management and the Emergency Operations Center. There's no negative fiscal impact to the city by accepting this grant, although the grant requires a local match of $245,000 sufficient funds, but they have already been budgeted within the Office of Emergency Management for this purpose.
Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
13 yeas.
Declared
Pre-
adopted.
President Congo, can I be excused?
Yes, you may be excused. Thank you.
Okay, this is my last one, Mr. President. I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 24008, Agenda 0384, whereas by City Council enact the City Code Section 2233, establishing procedures for the Chief of the Wilmington Fire Department to call for the commencement of an academy class if the manpower of the fire department falls below 95% of the number of firefighters set forth in the position allocation list attached to the annual operating budget ordinance for the applicable fiscal year.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea or nay vote on the question.
In this resolution, City Council recognizes that the Chief of the Fire Department has represented that the manpower of the fire department has fallen below 95%, and the number of firefighters set forth in the position allocation list attached to the fiscal year 2024 annual operating budget ordinance, and has drafted a resolution calling for a commencement of an academy class for the fire department.
Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy? Yes. President Congo?
Yes.
12 yeas and 1 absent.
Declared adopted.
I have nothing else, Mr. President.
Thank you. Council member Johnson.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the first and second reading.
Ordinance 24002, Agenda 0385, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond, water distribution and transmission improvements, lead removal project, Series A of 2024 DWSRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the replacement water mains in the city's distribution system, providing for the sale of the 2024 A bond to the Delaware Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond, water distribution transmission improvements, lead removal project, Series A of 2024 DWSRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the replacement of water mains in the city's distribution system, providing for the sale of the 2024 A bond to the Delaware Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the first and second reading and ordinance refers to the Finance and Economic Development Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Finance and Economic Development Committee.
Mr. President, I have another ordinance to present and call for first and second reading.
Ordinance 24003, Agenda 0386, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city general obligation bonds, PFAS, removal project Series B of 2024 DWSRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for removing PFAS from the city's treatment facilities, providing for the sale of the 2024 B bond to the Delaware Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond, PFAS, removal project, Series B of 2024 DWSRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for removing PFAS from the city's treatment facilities, providing for the sale of the 2024 B bond to the Delaware Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the first and second reading and ordinance referred to the Finance and Economic Development Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Finance and Economic Development Committee. Any more legislation, Councilmember Johnson?
I don't believe so.
All right,
That
thank you.
concludes my items.
Councilmember Cabrera.
Yes, Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 24009, Agenda 0387, whereas pursuant to Section 2363 of the City Code, City Council deem it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications and proposals, including authorization for expedited grant applications when necessary prior to council's approval by resolution. And whereas the Department of Land Use and Planning submitted a grant application to Delaware Department of State, Division of Historical and Cultural Affairs.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this is a grant application, as stated in the title, to the Delaware Department of State, Division of Historical and Cultural Affairs in the amount of $26,004. The funds will be used to support the city's historic preservation planning program, which has been in existence for over 35 years.
Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
12 yeas and 1 absent.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 24010, Agenda 0388, whereas pursuant to Section 2363 of the City Code, City Council deem it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications and proposals.
Mr. President, I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded the resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote.
Yes,
On the
Mr. President, similar to the previous resolution, this one will be in the amount of $15,707, and again, will be used to support the city's historic preservation planning program, which has been in existence for over 35 years.
I want to make
See.
a statement.
Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm definitely in favor of the grants because there's no impact on the constituents' But you know, I hope that we use this preservation money in various areas and not in just certain areas. And I mean that wholeheartedly, because we have a lot of historical sites in our districts, in various districts throughout the city of Wilmington, that I noticed it's always being tore down. And in certain areas, they're always being maintained and kept up, and one way or another, they find a way to preserve them. And I'm really talking about the church on 10th and Lombard, that I just received a petition from various community members, activists, and supposed to be meeting with IMAC, I think, next week. So you have a church that's an old church, a historical church that Black folks don't want to be tore down. But then you have a reservoir that they want to keep, and you put $900,000. I just want everybody to keep their eyes open towards that, because I hear all this money all of a sudden for these grants for preservation. And I've been on the council, and I know the preservation has been in existence for 30-something years. But since I've been in council, I've never heard so much money, or maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I doubt that. But all these grants coming in now for preservation, I just would like council members to be aware. And, you know, you hate to always throw color in this, but sometimes you have to, because that church down there, they've been, ever since I've been in council, they've been trying to find somebody to preserve it. They don't want to tear it down. And I know they're putting houses on between 8th and 9th and 8th and Lumber. So if you ride by there, it's fenced in, but the church is still there, and it's been there for, I think, over 200 years or more. So I'm trying to find out more about it. So we do have a lot of money, so I just want to put that out there. Thank you so much.
Councilmember Brigida Fields.
Thank you, Council President. I truly have to agree with my council member, Councilmember Oliver. It'd be nice if we could see where the monies were spent the last time, so that we can make sure that the other districts are getting the same kind of attention. Not only do we have the church over there on the east side, but we have properties throughout the city of Wilmington. And, you know, on the west side of 95, we have the St. Paul's Cathedral. They had to do a whole presentation in order to try to get some money, and they, as far as I know, they still didn't get that much. So, you know, I just think we can get it, but I just think we need to look and see who's gotten it before, and just, you know, kind of keep the ball rolling on different historical properties. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember.
So I would like to add, I don't have my notes from the committee meeting, and a question was specifically asked because some of these funds have already been received and have been already kind of a plan in place, and some of it is underway. But I do remember that it was 5 community initiatives that they were using the funding for, and one of them was actually to work on the reparations, that it was being set aside for that. So I wholeheartedly support what both my council members said. And I will also comment on being on the board of Ministry of Caring and the project that we have going on with Villa Maria. Here we are trying to take dilapidated properties, trying to redevelop certain areas of the city, and it is being held up because of historic preservation. Because at some point there was, I think, a flour mill, and the tracks and the rails from where the horses used to draw up to take the flour to the second floor, they have to see about preserving that. So a project has been delayed by 1 year. $250,000 additionally has had to be spent in the name of historic preservation. Listen, I'm a history buff. I love history, but at some point we need to be making some common sense decisions on this historic preservation, because sometimes it costs more money than if we just move forward. And right now, we need affordable housing in the city, and this project is being delayed and costing the Ministry of Caring more money because of the HUD requirements and our planning and preservation department holding it up. So that's all I'm going to say to some of these things, but I agree we need to hold them accountable so that everybody's history is being preserved, including Hispanic American history. And that was one of the other items out of the 5. So that just rang a bell. So that's it, Mr. President. I'll call for a yea and nay vote.
One second, please. Councilmember Harley.
Yes, I too agree with what has already been stated as it relates to spreading the love around, as it relates to the historic sites here in our city. And for the record, I think this is really something that we have to focus on because we um, we're the ones that are legislating, bringing in money. We are legislating, making sure we get the money, but yet once the money is received, it's like there's this gigantic disconnect. And all I wanted to say is that yes, as we are supporting legislation, using the power of the pen to make sure that we are preserving and we are maintaining and we are sustaining, we need to be more engaged. We need to really be more at the table to see how money is being distributed versus just voting on it and saying, yes, we want it, we receive it, and then there's this big disconnect. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes,
12 yeas and 1 absent.
declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 23046, Agenda 0375, an ordinance to authorize and approve an extension of contract 24012 LI Vacant Property Services between the City of Wilmington and RNA Contractors LLC.
Mr. President, I move that that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this is just a housekeeping item. This contractor has been working with the land bank, and we have had great success with their current work in terms of boarding, securing, and maintaining the vacant properties. This includes removing debris as needed and cutting the grass during the during the summer months, and plowing and keeping those sidewalks clean during the winter months. So they have done a good job, so we would like to extend their contract to keep working with them.
Thank you. Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy, President Congo.
Yes,
12 yeas and 1 absent. I think we're
declared adopted. This time we will move to petitions and communications, starting with Councilmember Bracy.
Yes, we're going backwards.
Nothing today.
All right,
President.
Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you, Council President. Nothing tonight. Everybody be safe in the weather.
Thank you. Councilmember Mills.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President. Thank you.
Councilmember Cabrera.
One day you will all hear me say nothing
I
tonight.
was wishing it was
But,
tonight.
but it's not going to be tonight.
Congratulations, Councilman Spadola and his wife on their
Was she born?
on baby watch. No, but by the time we get back here,
Ice Baby's not here yet.
Yeah,
We're going to call her Stormy Spadola.
Thank you.
Stormy Spadola. How do you like that name? Okay, Mr. President, real
Point
quick.
of order, please, y'all.
In all seriousness, I just want to remind people to stay safe. I know the weather's cold. People use heaters. Recently, there was a fire. It was outside of the city limits. 2 adults were burned. We've had some fires in the community. So again, please be careful with heaters, kerosene heaters, trying to find ways to heat your home. If you do need help with utilities, there is a number you can call, and of course, call 311. We can direct you to the appropriate folks. I just want to take this moment to, we lost 2 great men this past week. One of them, has already been mentioned, is the Honorable Theodore Blunt, and I can't say enough about the personal extension of his knowledge and friendship that he's given me throughout the years, long before I became a councilwoman. I'm proud to live on the street where he lived for so many years, over 3 decades, and raised his daughters, and across, right on my street, where our Congresswoman bought her first home. So I'm very saddened of his loss. I am equally as heartbroken of the loss of the great Dr. Reverend Benjamin Twin B. Brown. The Spiritual Revival Hours, single-handedly, Reverend Brown is responsible for growing cable TV when he worked with the Rollins Company, and they were trying to bring cable into people's homes. He came up with an ingenious idea of going to the churches and taping the choirs performing the services, and then if people wanted to see themselves on TV, they had to buy that $5 subscription. Can you believe cable was $5 back in the day? And that's how cable grew, and of course the Spiritual Revival Hours became a media outlet for the African American community and others when the mainstream medium was not depicting the community in a positive way. All you would ever see was negative things about the Black community and others, including the Hispanic community. But it was during the Spiritual Revival Hours and, you know, the whole running of Channel 28 and those programs that the community had true television where they can talk about the wonderful things and accolades of people in the community and recognize them. And the saying was always that you don't get elected unless you're on Channel 28. So during campaign year, we know that everybody was on there talking about their platforms. So just want to remember him. He passed peacefully, had actually recorded the last TV show while he was still alive. I was on that show talking about some of the city initiatives. So I'm very saddened, but I think that in his name and in his honor, we're going to keep the Spiritual Revival Hours going. So I hope that people come forth to support the show. And just want to say thank you to Miss Edwina Bell, who stood by his side at the hospital and brought him into her home where he passed peacefully, and for those who were by his side. And just wanted to make sure the community knew and that we keep his family in prayer. And yeah, we lost a great one. That's it.
Yes, ma'am. Councilmember Johnson.
Just a reminder, the Lena Hilltop Civic Association meeting is this upcoming Monday at 7 p.m. at Woodlawn Library. It's again in Little Italy is revamping, you know, a lot of ways we're doing things. They're actually spreading out larger than the area. So please come out and, you know, definitely become engaged so we can, you know, work on issues in the community. And like everyone said, be safe and well out there. We do have EMS services now. So thank you to my colleagues, for everyone for supporting this initiative. And we will keep the community advised on what we're looking at in terms of EMS plans for the city, definitely an upcoming finance committee meeting. So I thank everyone for being engaged. Thank you. Be safe.
Thank you, Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you. Actually, I only have one thing to state, and this is based off of what Councilwoman Cabrera stated about being safe here within, you know, these colder months. A lot of people are trying different ways to stay warm. So I do want to make certain I put the number for the smoke detector hotline out there. It's 302-571-4361. So, you know, we do hope that you are being careful when it comes to heating your home, that you are, if you're having issues, that you're calling the services to get the funding in order to make certain that you have heat, proper heat. But even still, you always need to have a working smoke detector. So please give the firefighters a call for the city of Wilmington.
Thank you, Councilmember Fields.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I just have two things. There's going to be a spelling bee competition Thursday, February 22nd from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Black History Month event, themed professional sports. We're looking for participating grades 3rd, 4th, and 5th. There's prize winners 1st and 2nd. The location is at William Hicks Anderson Community Center. Registration and check-in starts at 5 p.m. There's a QR code that all participants must register by. We are looking for students in those grades to participate in this spelling bee. So if you hear this, if you're watching tonight, please try to get the children signed up for it. We're going to try to make sure that they're in the schools as well. Other than that, that's the only thing I have, and my quote. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. Abraham Lincoln.
Thank you. Councilmember Harley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to mention that I am doing coffee and conversations with Council Member Harley in our downtown district, mainly for those residents and constituents that do not meet on a regular basis with the community. Of course, you know, South Bridge, we meet, the East Side, Trinity, Midtown. Those particular communities have a standard meeting time where they can share any input or have questions as it relates to anything dealing with city council. So every year I share coffee and conversations up and down downtown area from the riverfront up through 14th Street, which is Chancery. And it's just, like I said, an opportunity to bring and hear, listen and learn, and bring information back from my constituents up and down Market Street. So I wanted to put it out there, and I will continue to share the dates and the locations and the times. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to just clear up my statement when I said I had 100 things to worry about. I was talking about tonight. They did a little something for Ted Blunt out to the Monday Club. So I was merely saying that to say that if you look on the agenda, it's been over 11 people who've called the first of the year, just all these different people who have passed away. So I'm just trying to look at life a little different. But just to give you an update on some things that have occurred, I'd like to thank Steve and Lillian for putting a cleanup for MLK Day on Northeast area. They had over, I supplied them with the supplies, and they had over 25 to 30 kids who did a cleanup, I think between 17th Street and 22nd Street in the Northeast area. They really did a good job. Appreciate that. I'd like to thank Senator Brown for honoring We Are the Moms organization down to the General Assembly. He reached out to Gina Miller, who is the president. They just received their 501. They're having meetings, and they have just met with their first therapist, and they're doing counseling and trying to do some fellowships. So that's good. It's a group of women who have never had any counseling or therapy, and they're trying to get some of that. So I'm proud of them. We had the council, the DBE contractors meeting with Earl Cooper, and I think it was about 40 or 50 other ones due to the weather, and they plan on rescheduling that. We had to reschedule Dreams. They were coming, oh bless you, over Riverside this Saturday to give away some food and clothes to 200 women in Imana Village. But due to the weather, just received a text that they canceled that, and they're going to reschedule it. It's a lot of good things going on in the city of Wilmington. I'd like to thank Brother Dwight Davis for keeping me updated on some things he needs done over in the mosque in the Northeast area. I, too, would like to give my condolence to the Blunt family. Ted Blunt, very, very nice guy who was a mentor, who called me, I think, about a month ago and said he wanted to talk to me about a piece of legislation and thanked me for sending him a basket of flowers. And I didn't tell him it was for me, but it was for my brother and his wife, but I took the credit. I guess he eventually found out. And Twin B, who gave me my first interview on TV, and so both of them guys, one was the Godfather, I call him, and one was the icon for TV. So we did lose some pioneers in the city of Wilmington, and that's what I meant by I got 100 things to worry about, and that ain't one. And with that being said, I don't think I have anything else, and I'd like to be excused.
Not yet.
I knew he was going to say.
Councilmember White said not yet. He texted me. He said don't let her leave yet. Councilmember White.
Well, now I know what it's like being last. But first of all, I want to echo. I want to say a couple.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I thought I was next. No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. Councilmember Darby. Sorry
Yeah, I
about that.
know. That's okay. All right.
Councilmember Dart.
So I have
Go
two
ahead, Councilwoman.
things. So code purple is important for the state of Delaware. So code purple. No, I thought y'all were talking still. I was gonna give y'all time to talk. But code purple, you can call Delaware. So code purple, if it gets too cold and you need to find shelter, you can call Delaware 211 line, or you can text them. You can also call the Delaware Housing Alliance centralized intake line at 1-833-346-3233 if you know of anyone who is in need. The centralized intake services are available only Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, but the 211 is open. You can also go to any shelter, and they'll be able to give you Code Purple resources to help anyone who is not housed. I know it is freezing outside, so just to get people inside. And then the second thing also, I just want to, I know Reverend Dr. Twinbee Brown had passed away. And I worked closely with him on the Spiritual Revival Show. So I just want to say, rest in peace. He was a great man, very knowledgeable, and he took me under his wing and gave me a lot of advice and guidance in the media world, and just navigating and just being able to sit with him and eat lunch and learn about, I'm always trying to find people's lives and how they grew up, and learning about him and who he was as a person. It was a very special and unique person, and the impact he had on just, not even just the black community, but on the state of Delaware and just media in general, and like how it's structured now. It has to be told. But no, I just wanted to say that about Twinbee. I can't leave without even saying anything about him. So yes, that's it for me.
Thank you. And Councilmember Ali, you may be excused. And then Councilmember White.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you for the recognition. And before Councilwoman Oliver leaves and others, I want the community to look and see the phenomenal women that is in this chamber. And I know Councilwoman Harley would be here, but these are some phenomenal women that you have representing you. And although we all may not agree, there's no disputing the lack of talent. It's often bothers me that as council, we come in as paupers. We act like we're paupers regarding these issues that so often come up on our desk. There's a couple words I hate hearing when it comes to legislation. This is housekeeping. This is just housekeeping. We did this before. And then I heard one of my colleagues say, we have the power of the pen. But yet we don't seem to dot our I's and cross our T's that acts like we have the power of the pen. There should be no surprises on the legislation that we pass that it does not achieve what we want it to achieve. Otherwise, don't pass it, don't author it. We're not paupers. We're kings and queens of the people we represent. We have value in our collectiveness as well as our individuality. So we don't have to gussy up our thoughts, and we don't have to have any surplus words or any necessary actions. We just have to govern like it's the people's house. I too want to give, this has been a very difficult year in terms of losses. I just had some comments with the president regarding the number of services I've got the opportunity to attend. I sit in this chair, and one of the persons that sat in this chair was Charles Potter, represented the 1st District for a long time. He lost his aunt, Miss Faye Taylor, and I want to give out the condolences to him and his family and to their friends and family. I, too, regret the loss of Mr. Blunt. I've known him for a long time, and of course I've known the family. He was legendary, not just in Delaware. This man played alongside Earl of Pearl Monroe. And many of you may not know who he is, but you Google him, and there's nothing there was nothing like him, but he didn't play second to Earl. Earl played second to him. He brought talent and richness to this chamber. I sat in that audience and watched him many times. He was a man that offered and sought wise counsel. So there's no wonder that his daughter has achieved the heights that she's achieved. But again, I sat in this chair, and sometimes I pinch myself for all the persons of esteemed quality and effort that sat here before me. And I want to make certain that as the representative of the 1st District, I will never forget that, nor will I forget what they accomplished. So with that, Mr. President, I have no more to say.
All right, thank you. First, I just want to also congratulate the Spadolas for their upcoming birth of their, I think it's their second daughter. Also want to echo the sentiments of a lot of my colleagues around Ted Blunt. Condolences to his family, his daughters, and his wife, and just want to thank him for everything that he did for our city. Condolences to Twin B. Brown, who absolutely changed the dynamics here in the city of Wilmington. He did so much for, of course, for Channel 28, but he did so much for seniors. He would just visit the high rises, and he helped them to be engaged in everyday life here in the city. So he's going to be sorely missed. Channel 28 would not be the same without Twin B. So I know he wanted to have something, Maria. So we should still make that happen, just to honor his legacy and everything that he did for our city. So I guess to my council members, we have 11 months left, and I guess I say that because we were talking about the audit and how we put money into the budget for the audit, and I asked Marshall what happened. She said that the funds are not available. She said the fiscal year ended, and the administration shared that they were not going to do the audit. So as well as as good as our intentions may be here on council to put things in the budget, I think that we also have to make sure that we are intentionally holding the administration accountable for what we put in the budget. And the only way that we can do that is after the budget, to vote or not vote on things accordingly. And I know it's going against the grain, but somehow we have to get their attention. We do not want, I think we need to make these last 11 months mean something to us as a council, to this session, and especially to our residents. So it's good to put stuff in the budget, but if they're not going to do it, just because they don't want to do it, we have to hold them accountable. Whether that's voting for different police academies, we have to figure out how to hold them accountable, and not let them just take advantage of us the way that they have. And that's exactly what they have done. And I don't want my last 11 months to feel like that, and hopefully you don't either. And again, I think the only way that we can do that is on council floor, going against the grain, and voting in unity when it comes time to holding them responsible to what we put in the budget. It's one thing to pass it, but it's another animal to implement it. And I think we have to make sure that we are making sure that they're doing that on our constituents' behalf. It's not going to be popular. It might be kind of painful. It might be kind of awkward, but let's make these last 11 months count. I want to thank everyone who has joined us virtually. I want to thank everyone who is in council chambers, and we will see you in 2 more weeks. And with that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Second.
So moved.
So moved, second.
So moved.
It's been.
Good night.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.